Why would Afton be spying on the FNAF 4 house in the games?
That's, yeah.
Because it's his.
Wait, what? Hold on, what? What's up, guys? So today we are here to watch some more game theory, which this is the one I've been the most excited for to look the backstory on, and it is Five Nights at Freddy's sister location. Now, if you want to see me play the full game, it's on link in the description. I didn't get to custom night. I will be playing that for a future live stream, so keep tuned. I'll be playing all the 2020 modes for live streams, like the second one, third one, fourth one, and custom night, which, you know, the only one that I actually beat was the first one, and I feel like I kind of lost it after that, especially for FNAF 2. FNAF 2 was really hard to try to beat, and like I think I only got to 3 AM in like 7 hours, and then like the FNAF 3, I kind of just gave up because I spent so much time playing that game after replaying it to get the good ending and stuff like that. I couldn't be bothered to do 2020 mode at that point because I spent so long at that point. And then same thing with custom night. I couldn't do the custom night at sister location because I had spent so much time in that game just before that. I couldn't do another one of it. So, and FNAF 4 scares the living shit out of me, so I didn't want to go through that and play it. So I'm gonna take some breaks throughout it and then go and play it for live streams because I feel like it'll be a lot easier for me to play it that way without being drained out from how much I've played before. Now, so with sister location, this is the first time I've ever played this game. First time I've ever seen like the ending and everything. I seen like the first maybe night when it first came out, but honestly really enjoyed the game. This is probably out of all of them I played so far, I've enjoyed this the most. I think without structure and everything and the story you follow along with that ending, I think it was really cool structured and everything was different every single night, which I really liked that aspect. So Game Theory's channel will be linked in the description. The first video is going to be Game Theory Follow the Ice, FNAF sister location. Now, I know there's a decoded or whatever, but that was before the trailer came out, so I've already played the game, so I'd rather see the ones that after the games came out and whatnot. And I have seen the cutscenes as well. You guys in the comments told me to look at the cutscenes about the custom night. I did. I watched them. I'm curious to know what that's about with William Afton and Michael Afton and his son and stuff like that. I'm baffled to hear what that's about. So without further ado, let's do it!
To consult on the FNAF movie's storyline. Seriously, Scott, I'll be waiting by the phone.
It's still funny to me that he's talking about the FNAF movie at this point because of how many years that took to come out. It's crazy it's coming out now after what? This came out like 6 years ago, which is nuts. 2016. I was starting 8th grade at this point. I don't like that. I don't like that.
That's right. I reread The Silver Eyes. In an ironic twist, it took longer than the actual game. Now, here I am piecing together this script after, I kid you not, a weekend spent doing nothing.
I gotta read the books. I have not read the books. I gotta go get them, okay? One of these videos, I'll show you me getting them, okay? Because I feel like, I don't know, it feels like since I've done all these FNAF things, I feel like I need them now.
This one just tried too hard to do too many things. You've got elements of the past 4 games mixed in with FNAF World, mixed in with the book, all of which at this point have questionable canonicities, conflicting storylines, and competing dates.
I know I haven't played FNAF World. I will be playing that. I thought I might as well give a heads up on that because I know it's not really, I heard it's not canon for this, but
it's unclear if this is a continuation of the books, if it's a continuation of the games, or just an outright reboot of some kind.
So was the custom night not beat at this point? Because I think it made it like, I think at the end it kind of showed that it was.
Well, honestly, it could have been easy. With Scott saying that the original story was completed with FNAF 4, we could have just said that sister location was aligned with the book and FNAF World to start paving the way for
I wonder how FNAF 4 fits into everything, because I saw when you would do the thing with Entered, right, and they put the codes in and shit like that. When I played it, I thought that meant like, oh, you get to see different, like, I don't know, different rooms or whatever. It makes it easier so that you can save your power or whatever. And then I looked at it because I saw some video or whatever and it was saying the buttons, stuff like that. And I looked at it. I didn't even look at the image closely and I was like, oh, just the back rooms. So I put it in and then I saw it was FNAF 4 and I'm like, what the hell? So that's something I want to hear what that was about because that blew my mind. I don't even know what that means.
You just had to throw in those FNAF 4 Easter eggs.
There it is.
Those put everything into chaos. And it's not just me feeling it. Based on what I'm reading online, a lot of FNAF theorists sense that the lore contained in Sister Location is a game changer, but then they don't exactly know why or what to do with it. Struggling under the weight of explaining away Ennards and babies, Mikes and Williams, casual bongos and exotic butter.
Oh my god, I hated Ennard so much. That took so long to do. It wasn't like the fact of going to him, it was the fact of having to redo going all that way every single time just to get past Ennard, to get to Ennard. That was probably the most aggravating game play of any of these FNAFs I've ever done, is redoing that over and over again.
First off, who are we playing as? Historically, the protagonist of Freddys games have had a varying degree of importance. There are those like Mike and Fritz who, for all we can tell, were just names with the sole purpose of filling out the "to" line on a paycheck. Sure, they may have been
Michael Afton, right? I think that's who we are. That's what I put together anyways. Like some of a sibling died or something like that. I think sibling, right? Sibling or daughter must have died in there, because it's like the baby was saying, oh, you're coming back for her or whatever, right? So I don't know.
Been retconned into some importance now, but they were never really intended to be that way. Then there was the crying child of FNAF 4, hospitalized and trapped in a waking nightmare. Slightly more important, I would hazard to say. And the game recognizes this, as during your first encounter with the new animatronic baby, she calls out,
"It's a strange thing to want to do, to come here. I'm curious what events would lead a person to want to spend their nights in a place like this."
No, that's facts. No, that's facts. Yeah, that's
Maybe
facts.
Curiosity.
Because fuck that. Hell no. No kind of money is getting me down there. Hell no.
The ignorance.
Answering the question of who you play as in Sister Location is more important than any of the rest of the games in the franchise, since it practically dictates every other element of this story. Why you're there, what the endings mean, what this location stands for, how this fits into the overall timeline. It's a big deal. Now personally, based on the silhouette in the mirror, my first guess is to say that we're playing as Rick Astley, and Scott is just committing the most elaborate Rick roll in history.
That'd be kind of funny.
I can also set up wager limits.
I mean, just look at that hair. It's an exact match, and let's face it, Scott has proven that he's not above trolling us. But assuming he has a little bit more respect for the fan base than that, there can only be one possible conclusion here. In Sister Location, we play as William Afton, Purple Guy himself. And no, I'm not just saying that because the eyes in the ending are purple, like literally everyone else on the internet.
I think it's Michael Afton. I'm pretty positive.
Internet's been saying. Sure, it's a nice detail that may hint at Scott's intentions, but it's not proof. For proof, we begin by turning to the in-game dialogue. On your quest to unlock the game's fake ending, the animatronics taunt you with these little bits of dialogue, spoken by a young girl in a British-sounding accent.
"I'm still here."
Isn't this why you came here?
God. I'm getting like flashbacks from this night. This night took me like, I think 3 hours total just to beat, because I had to go through that first code part every damn time. Ugh.
To be with her again.
So we know that whoever the player is has some sort of connection to this mysterious young girl. But who is she? Well, throughout the game, between nights, we hear the same girl pressing her father to let her play with Baby, saying things like,
"Daddy just once let me go play with her. She's so pretty and shiny."
Okay, so it's
Didn't
probably
you
his
make her
daughter.
just for
It's
me?
probably his daughter is the one that went down there and probably is what was dead. I don't know how. Well, actually, in the minigame, she gets scooped up. So that could be a part of how she died, because he wanted to go play with the animatronics. She probably got scooped up and killed in it and stuff like that. Huh. That's what I took it as anyways.
From that small snippet, we can not only tell that our character is her father, but that he's also in some way the creator, or has some level of control over the animatronics. This in turn narrows the field down by quite a bit to 2 men, William Afton and Henry, no last name given, the 2 co-founders of Fazbear Entertainment as introduced in FNAF Silver Eyes. By the way, low blow, Scott, forcing people to read in order to have any sort of clue as to what's going on in the franchise now. Because seriously, without reading the book, you would have no clue the importance of William Afton. Oh well, that's what I'm here for. I read it so you don't have to. Kind of like the Nostalgia Critic. Anyway, based on the girl's accent and William Afton's similar dialect at the beginning of the game.
I will say this, so I'm not reading it for video. Hell no. You don't want to hear me read. Okay. Look, if you guys want it, I'll read it for a video. But I can't read. I have the reading level of a what we like to call a 3rd grader. I feel like when I got my concussion, I knocked a few screws loose, and I have not been able to read since.
Game.
She can dance. She can sing. She's equipped with a built-in helium tank for inflating balloons right at her fingertips.
It would seem as though we have ourselves a match.
You are the father.
But let's not Don't be too hasty there, Maury. We can be even more sure. In the game's real ending, you get yourself tricked, becoming animatronic fodder as the machines scoop out your internal organs and replace them with endoskeleton cords. Now, this really bothered me since it's like the antithesis of what we expect from our stories when we beat the game. Here I am wanting to finish my night and return home to my basket of exotic butter, but no, that's reserved for the fake ending. Becoming a flesh suit is somehow canon to the series. I wanted to write it off as jumping the shark, like, hey, we're getting a little bit too absurd right now, but then I realized that this is a franchise built on haunted animatronics chasing you through a pizza restaurant after they've been killed by a serial killer hiding in a mascot suit filled with killer springs. So, crossing the line of absurdity, I think we're long past it at this point. Becoming a flesh suit is an oddly specific event to be.
No, he's right. We're like, if we're talking about like going far, I think we've already been there by the first game. I mean,
integral to the lore, and yet there it is. So we're left with two options. Scott's either completely lost it at this point, or he has some other plans for this character. And indeed, he does. As the novel once again shows us why this odd story turn is so important. In its pages, read it to all sorts of lines that make it clear Mr. Afton is the one who gets himself stuffed. Page 407. Quote, Charlie, there's something different about him. It was as if the guard, the man they had met, had been stripped away, and what sat before them was nothing but a...
Okay. The animals keep fucking around. It scares me. Because I'm the only one here right now. And I'm convinced our house is haunted, but that's a story for a different time.
Blank canvas. End quote. And again, 2 pages later, quote, Dave is the fake name for William Afton in the novel. He's hiding out in another identity. Long story. Anyway, just go with it. Dave's body moved upward, straightening, but the movement was too smooth. He seemed to make no effort, use no muscles, and exert no energy. Dave's eyes opened steadily, glassy and without emotion, like the robots on the stage outside, end quote. And there you have it. That totally just spelled it out for us, didn't it? Like the robots on the stage outside. In fact, the book makes a huge deal about Afton's eyes, over and over again, like when the character John describes seeing Afton kidnap his friends on pages 120 to 122. Quote, the eyes, they were all I could see. They were dead, just dull and flat. Like they still moved and blinked.
I gotta read this book.
But
I gotta read this book. I didn't realize there's this lore impact. Okay.
Behind them had died a long time ago. End quote. Died a long time ago, you say? Like perhaps in an underground murder bunker, doubling as a robotic distribution center, perhaps. Now, real quick, let's pause here and have some real talk to Ennard, Baby, and the gang. Guys, we're gonna have a bit of an intervention here. If your goal is to blend in with the outside world and look like us, look like any other human, choosing to go with the purple eyes is not gonna be helping your cause all that much. Artificial intelligence, more like artificial idiots.
So I wonder what it makes up into those cutscenes where William Afton, or no, Michael Afton, I don't know who the one who's walking across the street, but the one who's walking down the street, you know, is slowly turned purple throughout, or green in the face and whatnot throughout those different, like, custom-made cutscenes. I wonder what that... I don't know. I wonder, because those people just stop, like, waving at him and just start staring at him. So I wonder what that all means. Maybe it's, like, the stuff that's covered on him, but I don't know. That makes it interesting.
Do your homework. Humans don't tend to have purple eyes. I mean, seriously, you have a blue-eyed animatronic just waiting to go. Look, there's Foxy. He has brown/orange eyes. Great. Anyway, I digress. Who am I to judge? Maybe we're all just left to assume that Afton walks around in those cool colored contacts. Anyway, it's not just the eyes that give away Afton as the animatronic's meat puppet. His overall physicality has undergone a drastic change over the years as well. On page 418, we hear that Afton started off robust and lively, a hefty man who had the ruddy geniality of a financially shrewd Santa Claus. Financially shrewd Santa Claus, huh? No one said the writing of this book was any good. There's clearly a reason why only 500 people made it all the way through this book. And I say that because on Amazon Kindle, they actually show you the most popular highlighted sections, and like, they all drop off by midway through the book, so I can only assume that I'm the only person who made it all the way through.
Oh, wow. God damn. Oh, that's rough. And Damn, that's tough.
Things I do for you. Anyway, soon after, our financially shrewd Santa Claus is accused of murder. He's released due to no bodies being found, and then he skips town. However, when he comes back, he's a changed person. Quote, Afton had been fat and affable. The man in the picture was sallow and thin, his skin sagging, and his expression unpleasant, as if he had forgotten how to smile. He looked like a poor facsimile of himself. end quote. So when he comes back to town, he's not only lost a ton of weight, but he looks like a poor copy of himself? So that's us reading the subtext of these lines, but you don't even have to read between those lines. Afton tells us directly in the quote I used at the top of this episode. Quote, "And what makes you think they won't kill you?" John said again. "Because I'm one of them," he said. I mean, let's face it is hard to argue with that one. He is outright saying he is an animatronic. Reading the book the first time, you all assume it's like, oh, he has a kindred
I
spirit
really want to know
with
what
these
those
animatronics
cutscenes are about.
because he loves them so much and he dresses as one and this and that. But oh no! After playing Sister Location, it takes on a whole new meaning. Now, there are two major complaints against the Afton theory. One, that Baby's first lines are,
I don't recognize you. You are new.
and two, that none of it makes sense if Afton bleeds out in Springtrap in FNAF 3. But there's an easy answer for both of these situations. First, think back to the FNAF world ending, where Desk Guy, who in our last episode we establish as Henry no last name given, William Afton's partner in the
Oh, wait, there is lore in FNAF World? Wait a minute, wait. I thought it was, okay, I was told there was no lore in FNAF World, but I guess we'll see when we get to that game.
Fazbear's franchise confesses to building Baby. He's the creator, the one Baby would be most familiar with and not necessarily Afton. So Baby not recognizing Afton isn't all that much of a stretch. And regarding Purple Guy's death, we see in the book that William is covered in scars. Scars left over from surviving one major round of Springtrap failures. Quote, Dave had been shirtless under the costume and now his bare chest was clearly visible. His skin was horribly scarred, with raised white lines that scored his flesh in a symmetrical pattern, each side of his body mirroring the other. He raised his arms and turned slowly in a circle, giving Carlton ample time to see that the scars were everywhere. Also note that we never actually see Springtrap die in FNAF 3, just collapse into his own pool of blood and shiver there. The light never drains from his eyes. And Silver Eyes shows that it's not only possible, but that William has indeed survived a Springlock failure in the past. So could the FNAF 3 incident be the reason he has all those scars in the book? Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it showed he survived at the end too, because of that cutscene of him coming out from that Fazbear frights.
Absolutely. Also, according to the timelines, the events line up. All of the events of Silver Eyes take place in 1995, placing it long after any events that we've seen in the games thus far, with the exception of Fazbear's Fright, which may have been a hallucinogenic dream sequence anyway. So all in all, cool story, bro. We play as Purple Guy in Sister Location.
Thank you for selecting Casual Bongos.
I'm curious to see how
What does
mad
all
he
this mean
gets
for
when
the
he
plot
realizes
game?
it's not.
It actually explains a lot, but from here it also tends to get really complicated, because now we're dipping into the FNAF 4 surveillance footage, FNAF 4 locations being tied to Sister Location, child experimentation, and the identities of Baby and Ennard. So instead of rushing my way through it to get it all done in time, I'm gonna pause right here and hold all those explanations for the next episode.
Alright, like a day has passed. I meant to finish this video yesterday, but life got in the way. Oh well. Let's do it. Let's finish these videos. We're on to the next one. This is called The Killer's Promise. And I'm curious to see how this continues on from yesterday. I didn't realize that FNAF World had FNAF lore in it. I thought it was just kind of a one-off game, and I was told that it wasn't, like, you know, part of anything. And now I'm introduced to Henry, and I don't know who the hell Henry is, so now I'm kind of a little stumped, and it kind of, you know, put the dent in my plans of how I was going to do these games about throughout this, to the movie, so it might have to come at the end of the series, I don't know. But without further ado, let's do it!
The question of the day is, can a game make you feel sympathy for a child murderer? Because once you have the complete story, you might just see Purple Guy in a whole new light. One line across this entire franchise answers everything. I will put you back together. But before we get to all of that, let's back up a bit. Last time we established that William Afton, Purple Guy himself, is who you play as in Sister Location, and the one who eventually, or should I say at the ooped. We also established that he once had a daughter who got herself killed at the hands, or should I say at the metal claw grip, of Baby. But there is so much more.
I saw that and I was like, holy shit. So man, that's what, like, there's so many things like that where it's just a bunch of new things where it's like, what the fuck does that mean?
By playing through the game and unlocking Sister Location's secret private room, players get treated to a shocking Easter egg. By typing the date 1983 into the keypad besides the monitors, the static blazes to life, revealing blurry footage of the FNAF 4 house, the plush trap hallway, Foxy's closet,
What the fuck does that
and creepiest
mean?
of all, the crying child's bed. We also get a clue as to how this is being done. Sitting there on the desk is none other than our good old friend, Psychic Friend Fredbear. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. Who you gonna call? Psychic friend Fredbear. A little less psychic this time and a little more plush, cradling what appears to be a remote control. Now, many have said that this is a walkie-talkie, but it is, in fact, a camera control. Notice the buttons on top.
I didn't
Those are
even think
switcher-
about the bear. Huh. I just kind of just chucked it up that it was nothing at the time. Okay.
allowing you to switch between the different cameras you have placed in the environment. The wheel on the bottom presumably allows you to turn the cameras.
But who the hell is... Why are the cameras in there? That doesn't make sense to me. I get, like, go to Fredbear, but what? What?
Potentially focus them. The Fredbears from FNAF 4 are just that. Fredbear plushes equipped with hidden security cameras, something mothers are using all the time these days to monitor their children, and also getting themselves hacked while doing it. See also the Watch Dogs episode. Creepy stuff. But that begs the question, why would anyone have remote monitoring of a child's bedroom programmed to run into a secret room in an underground
I mean, it makes sense, right? Because isn't, like, the lore that he saw the purple guy do things, right? Like, stuff the kid in the suit? Isn't that what the whole thing is? I could be wrong, but I feel like maybe that's why I just keep an eye, see if he says anything, or sees what happens to him, or whatever it might be.
animatronic storage facility. And also, why that house? Well, it's important to note that it's not just any house. It's a house that's connected to Circus Baby's Rentals. You heard that right. Sister location is under the FNAF 4 house. During the Freddy Breaker Room Challenge, we're presented with a map of the facility. We see
Then
the
why is he at the house? Because what? Wait, who's the kid then? Wait, what? How would it be under that house? What? Wait, why? Because that doesn't. What? I don't know. This whole thing is kind of a little confusing to me because wait a minute.
entrance elevator, main hub area, and the various holding rooms branching out all around it. But
Why would the kid be in there though? Wouldn't that be his house, or why is he there? I don't understand. That's the part that's not getting me. Is like, why is he actually there?
Also see, more faintly, are 3 other areas. Maps that should look pretty familiar to fans of this series. The plush trap hallway, the path to Fredbear's, and the crying child's bedroom from FNAF 4. No joke. Just like the vent system maps from previous games, the faded diagram would imply that all of this is located on a different level than sister location, i.e. above it. And as we can see, not just above it, but connected to it. In fact, while we were too busy freaking out over the ever-nearing Funtime Freddy, most gamers overlooked that as a part of that minigame, we were responsible for returning power to those areas of the map. They were even labeled Observation 1 and Observation 2. Observation? Observing what? It just gets creepier and creepier. Now, before you go saying that an underground facility attached to a house is far-fetched, it's
That's what
actually
I
something
thought.
supported by the book in details I guarantee everyone overlooked while reading it. Page 118, our main character Charlie is outside her childhood home, which is also home to Henry, co-founder of Freddys. While exploring her father's animatronic workshop, we get the following quote. She knelt again and put her hand on the ground, fishing around until she found a small screw in the bare dirt. She palmed it, then looked closer. There were small holes in the ground, exposed when she moved the loose dirt. Charlie ran her fingers over them, thoughtful, end quote. Tiny holes hidden under the dirt of an animatronic workshop, huh? It's an oddly specific detail that never gets mentioned again and never goes anywhere, but is one of those things that gets the theorist mind to tickle in. Because when I hear of mysterious holes in the ground in someone's private workshop, I think trapdoor. Hidden trapdoor, or more accurately, secret entrances. Could this be a hint as to a secret entrance in Henry's animatronic workshop into sister location? In fact, we can prove using more details from the book that it is still being used by Afton. Earlier in that same chapter, Scott makes sure to drop a few more hints that seemingly never go anywhere, but we all know Scott better than that, right? And now that we have sister location to reference, these little details start to make a whole lot more sense. Quote, the benches were there where her father had assembled and tweaked his inventions, but the materials, the blueprints, and the half-finished robots that were once crammed onto every surface had disappeared. Where are they? End quote. So we have missing blueprints and partially finished bots that have just disappeared, but it continues. Quote, Charlie, John said from across the workshop, he was in the dark corner. If the skeleton had been there, it could have reached out to touch him, but it's not there. Notice the italics here. This isn't something that we're doing for effect in the video. This is actually straight from the book. Time and time again, Scott and the team working on this book are emphasizing.
This whole thing's hurting my head. Like, trying to like think about all this is starting to hurt my head. Like I want to feel like that's far reach, but the cameras are in there, so I mean, if we're gonna really go far with it, then I mean, I feel like maybe that isn't that far fetched, but I don't know.
These lines as though they're pointing to a greater mystery here, that someone has stolen these materials and are using them for their own devices, that they're hidden somewhere in this world. But it's a mystery that never gets solved within the pages of the book. But perhaps most importantly of all is a paragraph a few sentences later that pulls all these clues together and may finally give us an answer as to what is in the box. You know, the box.
Yeah.
Quote, John was standing beside her father's toolbox, and he stepped away as she came over, giving her space. Charlie knelt down before it. It looked as if it had just been polished. It was made of dark, stained wood. Glossy. All the tools were polished and clean. They looked as though they had just been used that morning, wiped down and put away meticulously, like someone still cared for them. End quote. Stolen blueprints, missing robots, pristine tools despite supposedly going unused for 10 years, hints at a trap door and William Afton lingering around the town in disguise. Quite simply, the pieces here add up. But again, that's hints that we can glean from the book. The bigger question here is why would Afton be spying on the FNAF 4 house in the games?
Yeah.
Because it's his. As we established last episode, you play...
Wait, what? Hold on. What? What do you mean it's his house? How would the kid even be there? That's what I don't understand. How would the kid even be there? Like, I don't understand why he has the cameras in there, but I don't understand why he would actually be at that house in particular. Like, I don't know.
As Purple Guy, and each night you go back to your retro-themed house. At first, these cutscenes seem like they should just be absurd breaks from the spoopy action of the main game.
Clara, the baby isn't mine.
But look closer and you notice the details of the room. In particular, a very ugly lamp. A very ugly, very familiar lamp. One that we saw in, you guessed it, FNAF 4. In other words, this is Afton's house, and from his underground private room, he's observing his kids. Crying child, the older brother, and the girl who eventually becomes baby.
Wait, but that's not his kid, though. That's not his, no, that's not his kid, is it? Wait, that's not his kid. There's no way that's his kid, right? Because I thought Michael Afton, right? That's his kid. But I mean, I guess this was before that whole cutscene came in at the end of like the custom night or whatever. But like, there's no way that's his kid, right? This fucks my head thinking about the fourth game after all this, because I thought the fourth game was something different, but this is nuts.
So for this game, this truly is a sister location, a sister's location. And from there, all the parts start to fit together. So let's retell this story from the beginning now that we have all the pieces. Remember what will happen if he catches you. It's a line we hear repeated over and over again throughout FNAF 4, and now we know why. Crying Child has seen Golden Bonnie abduct children multiple times in the past. This moment in the back room that we all debated about whether or not it was a murder is in fact a child kidnapping. Silver Eyes proves it as it shows that Purple Guy kills by trapping the kids in spring-lock suits. Quote, Carlton was wedged inside the heavy, barrel-shaped torso of a mascot costume, the headless top half of some kind of animal. His arms were trapped inside the torso section, pinned to his sides in an unnatural position. He could feel pieces of metal that pressed against his back and poked him. Dave said to Carlton, if you trigger those spring locks, two things will happen. First, all the locks will snap right into you, making deep cuts all over your body. And a split second later, all the animatronic parts they've been holding back will instantly be driven into your body. You'll die, but it will be slow. Having witnessed a scene similar to this, the boy is justifiably terrified, trying to avoid the pizzeria at all costs. But it's kinda hard when your father is one of the owners. Meanwhile, William Afton knows that he's been found out.
I wonder how true that is, that it's his son. Because, I mean, I guess that would add up a little bit more, but does he have 2 kids? And then wouldn't technically there be 3, right? Because of what's the baby or whatever, isn't she supposed to be like a part of the sister? I thought, like, you know, sister location, I imagine that was her sister. So would there be 3 kids overall, or what? I don't understand.
It's the observation monitors and security Fredbears. He needs to be sure of his son's movements, even when he's at work, be it above ground or below. I mean, the guy may be a killer, but it's not like he could just kill his son, even if he was the witness to a gruesome murder at the restaurant. But Afton's problem gets solved prematurely with the fatal chomp of 83, a son William loved, killed by the very animatronic.
Wait, so then he would have another kid, right? Because of the older brother, right? Would that be, or is that Michael? I don't, is that supposed to be Michael Afton? I don't know.
loved, leading us to one
I guess that would-
fateful promise. I will put you back together. We've analyzed this line a lot in past theories because it's not only the final
I guess
lines
that
of
would make sense. So would Michael be the one who killed the kid then? If that's the logic, right? I think.
FNAF 4 and FNAF World, thereby making it super important to this franchise, but because it's also presented to us in a different color than Fredbear's yellow. Someone else is talking here. And now we can finally pinpoint who said it, and more importantly, why. It was Afton. I will put you back together. A promise to fix his son, a broken son, in the only way that he knows how, animatronics. Enter Sister Location and the Funtime animatronics, not built for entertainment or for being worn, but built to help Purple Guy save his son. Built for capture. Although no one has yet found how to unlock them in the game, if you dig through the Sister Location files, you find a set of blueprints for the various animatronics, outlining their size and special features. Not only are they enormous, topping 7 feet in some instances, certainly bigger than a small child, but they're also equipped with things like 360-degree tracking, parental voice mimicking, and storage tanks. Look closer at the wireframes and you see that the storage tank isn't quite...
Yeah, so I wonder what makes it different with that she can talk. That's the other thing with the baby Blur or whatever, right? I wonder what makes it different that she's the one who can actually talk.
Empty. Yeah, that's a child in there, curled up, hidden in Fredbear's stomach, captured alive, ready to be experimented on. Because Purple Guy is no longer killing to satisfy himself. He's doing it to recover his son, to figure out the secret of fusing souls into animatronics. You heard me. Afton wants to unlock the mystery of giving gifts, giving life. And if that seems like a stretch, just look at the number of sentient, independent, and fully aware robots in Sister Location. You not only have the core set, but there's also the baby babies and the mini Renas. Tens of sentient animatronics moving against their programming. And unlike past games where we received explanations like anti-criminal systems, dying guys in murder suits, or the products of a nightmare, here they just kinda exist. Why? Well, Baby tells us over and over in the trailer for Sister Location.
Don't do it against us.
What? Wait, whoa, what? I guess it would make sense with her at the end trying to be like, oh, I want to blend in with the rest of you. I guess that makes sense. Maybe it's just everything just backfired? I don't know. But at the end of Custom Night adds a lot into, I don't know.
Before the game's release, we had no idea, but now we do know what they've been through. Experiments and controlled shocks. Dozens, and I mean dozens of children captured as the Funtime animatronics executed on the programming that told them to collect. Also that Afton could learn the secret to reawakening lost souls. As we see in Silver Eyes, he knows it's possible as he's not shocked at all when the animatronics come to life at night. Quote, "They're home with me." Dave's voice was coarse, and the large mascot head slid forward and tilted as he spoke. Their happiest day. All they know is that you're here, trying to take away their happiest day. You are intruders, end quote. And as evidenced by the animatronics crawling throughout Sister Location, he succeeds in his goal. But in doing so, he pays the ultimate price, losing the second of his children, his daughter, when she ignores his warnings to stay away from the robots. A daughter whose soul goes on to possess Baby, as evidenced by the eye color shift from blue in the minigame to green in all the other times that we ever get to see Baby. Now flash forward to the beginning of Sister Location, a place where, as we're told in the trailer, memories sleep, anger is restless, and secrets don't keep. The children's spirits are mad and eager to get out, but how does a ragtag group of sentient robots escape? Even if they made it to the surface, giant endoskeletons roaming around would be like the coming of Terminator 2, and humans don't take kindly to that sort of thing. And so
I wonder why.
to concoct a sneakier plan to escape. They put together their individual abilities Afton programmed into them, like Freddy's voice mimic and Bellora's misdirection tactics, to create a new entity, the collective consciousness known as Ennard, a tangle of wires and eyeballs that serves as their final hope. And we know it's all the animatronics together because it refers to itself as we.
There is nowhere to go when we look like this.
As the teaser said, there was a part of him in every body, after all. Throughout the 5 nights, Ennard uses those various skills and pretends in order to gain our trust, using the voice mimic to sound like Baby, and be sympathetic, adopting the voice of the little green-eyed girl. It's all a trick, and by night 5, they've cleared out all the evidence, killing the other technicians so that no one can speak. They've cleared out all the evidence, killing the other technicians.
Oh, wow. Oh, I didn't even notice that. I was like, I saw that, but I didn't think it was that. I was like, oh, they're not going to go that far. That's not what I think it is. There's no way. I thought it was just like a shadowy figure of like, you know, one of them just like are hung up, right? Like one of the fucking animatronics. I didn't know they were dead. What? So
that no one can speak of the haunted animatronics. But note that those guys haven't been scooped. They've saved that honor.
Oh my God.
For you.
That's, oh my God, this puts everything in oh, this makes the whole experience different now that I didn't know that. What?
Guy, the reason they're stuck there in the first place.
I thought that was just her. Like, you know, then what?
Baby's voice, they push you into the
That's why you don't see him and they tell him to send him home because, oh my God.
Room, remove your skeleton, and inhabit your body. And as we see in the final scene, their escape is successful. The purple guy, the serial killer father trying to put his son back together, is killed by the exact monsters he first created. But not in an unhappy way. He achieved what he wanted, being reunited with his children. Page 411 of Silver Eyes. Quote, the voice of the rabbit was smooth and rich, almost musical. Dave cocked his head to the side so that only one of his bulbous eyes could peer through the sockets. We both wanted to love, he said in those melodious tones. Your father loved, and now I have loved. End quote. But hey, that's just a theory. A game!
Oh my God. Wait, I need to go to this next one. I need to know what the hell happens. Wait a minute. Okay, I think this is the last one. It looks like this is the last one for sister location-wise. We got the next one, the game theory FNAF. The answer was right in front of us. So Find Freddy's sister location. Alright, I need to do... So this is going to be the one with the cutscenes, I imagine, right? This is the one that's going to be breaking it down. I wonder how it makes it different. I know that the main guy has to be Michael Afton, right? It's not William Afton because William Afton is at Fazbear Frights doing Find Freddy's 3 shit.
And the Twisted Ones as a whole book matter in the context of the FNAF games. Well, in the opening sequence of Sister Location, we hear that the Funtime animatronics were built by William Afton.
With all due respect, those aren't the design choices we were curious about, Mr. Afton.
A guy who, up to that point in the series, had only been named in the first book, Silver Eyes. By the end of the book, we learned that William is Purple Guy, the killer who kidnaps kids while wearing a golden Bonnie suit. But Silver Eyes also introduced us to other important characters for the FNAF series as a whole, including Henry, no last name given, William's partner and the more creative half of the company, the one who actually created the animatronic.
Oh, I guess Michael wasn't introduced at this point then. That would make sense. I guess Michael wasn't introduced at this point. I haven't seen, like, I know like little bits here and there of the Michael Afton thing, but... So, wait.
So, after reading Silver Eyes, we were left with William, the business guy who doesn't create robots but does kill children, and Henry, the creator who does create robots but doesn't kill children. Got all that? Good. Now, in my FNAF 5 Decoded video, I drew parallels between Henry and a mysterious figure that we saw during a secret cutscene of FNAF World, both of whom create animatronics and commit suicide. Long story short, in the game, he ends his own life because he created Baby, a robot
That's
that
fucking
he's ashamed
crazy.
of. In the book, why Henry...
That's, like, I didn't even watch... God, I regret not playing FNAF World now. I didn't know that.
Kills himself is still a big part of the mystery. Now, if you want more information about the parallels between these two characters, click the eye icon in the upper right-hand corner of the screen because I go more in-depth there. But after that video, it seemed like a lock. We finally had some solid leads as to who these key players in the games were, and the clues were coming from Silver Eyes. But then that opening cinematic from Sister Location played the first time we all booted up the game. Afton acknowledged that he was the one who created the new robots, and everyone, including myself, was like, well, there went that theory. Afton was supposed to be the business guy, not the creator. So if he's the one who builds animatronics in the game, then Henry must not exist in this universe. Scott had pulled the wool over my eyes, or at least retconned huge parts of his story to keep me off the scent once again. Except not. The theory was right the first time.
So imagine it being his kid comes the theory later on, right? Okay, I'm gonna say it as that. Okay, I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna go. I know you guys are probably like, just let it go. It hasn't happened yet. But okay, got it.
The Twisted Ones book confirms that both Henry and William Afton create animatronics, with the originals being built by Henry and the Twisted Funtime style animatronics being Afton's. On page 92 of the Twisted Ones, we see the main character Charlie, daughter of Henry, talking about one of these new animatronics.
It's a fucking
The
image.
hardware, the joints. It's older technology. Maybe he made them earlier? I don't know. I reckon a lot of it's foreign to me. Someone else may have had a hand in it. I'm not sure if my dad made it or not, but I have a feeling he's the one who buried it. Oh yeah, by the way, in the book, the Twisted animatronics bury themselves during the day and come out at night to nab people. Animatronic zombies. Why not? It is probably one of the things that makes more sense in the book, honestly.
What the fuck? Okay.
Anyway, it's continually hinted at throughout the book that these animatronics weren't built by Henry. My father wouldn't have used this. He always put stops so that the joints couldn't do things humans can't do. Then again, on page 113, the bear was frightening, misshapen, an imitation of Freddy created by someone else. It was a strange variation, into which her father had never breathed life, but William Afton, Dave, did. And then finally, William Dave, maybe Purple Guy, Springtrap Afton confirms it on page 186.
Did you think my robots would be as poorly designed as your father's?
So there you go. The original theory still stands. Henry and William can both be active players in the game universe because both build animatronics. And if you need even more evidence, then think about it this way. At the end of FNAF World, Henry admits that he created Baby, and then he kills himself, ashamed of his creation. At the beginning of Sister Location, we see that Afton is still alive, he's claiming creation rights, and he's obviously proud of his new robots. Then, at the end of the game, his son...
Fuck. Ah, damn it.
Michael Afton says
I should have played FNAF World. I should have played FNAF World. I thought that was the only way I didn't have to. I thought it didn't matter. I got told it didn't matter and stuff like that. And yeah, it didn't look like it mattered. I didn't know really what it was. Yeah.
Find his father.
Father, it's me, Michael. I'm going to come find you.
Thus, William is still alive, Henry is dead, but both must be a part of come find his father, robots. Then, at the end of the game, his son Michael Afton says that he's gonna come find his father.
Father, it's me, Michael. I'm going to come find you.
Thus, William is still alive, Henry is dead, but
oh, okay. I guess it technically so technically would be okay. So technically it wouldn't be Michael if he was trying to go. Maybe I don't know.
Also confirms something that FNAF theorists had been speculating about since the release of Sister Location. One of the weirdest details from that game was hidden in Funtime Freddy's room, where a map of FNAF 4's house was above and directly connected to the map of the Sister Location facility. It was also something that was hinted at throughout the Silver Eyes novel. Again, something that I covered in a previous theory, linked via those iCards in the upper right-hand corner. But Twisted Ones not only confirms this underground bunker for Sister Location exists, it also confirms whose house it's built under. Henry's. In the novel, we see the Twisted animatronics capture the main character Charlie, again, Henry's daughter, and drop her off in some remixed version of the FNAF 2 pizzeria. I say remixed because, like a lot of this book, it's a weird hybridization of the things that happen in the games and other stuff. It's got the carousel and balloon boys from the FNAF 2 location, but then there's a cave and a waterfall for some reason. Because why not? FNAF 7, Under the Sea, including Charlie and her boyfriend John, who admittedly has to be the most patient and loving boyfriend in the history of the universe. Like, Charlie shows him no sense of affection, and he is there just like a sad puppy dog. It is tragic. Anyway, they go to visit Charlie's childhood home, which has been destroyed by a storm. And what they find is that the storm has broken down a wall to reveal a new room, a secret room, hidden in their house that Charlie had never known about. Quote, that's not even part of the house. I've never seen this room before. The walls were made of dark concrete, and the room was small and windowless. A box jammed into the house and sealed away beneath the rooms. Whatever's out there killing people came from there. When the storm broke the wall, a section of the house was sealed until the storm broke through. But what's really important here is what's revealed when Charlie and the gang escape from that underground pizzeria I mentioned. On page 194. We're out! We're okay!
These sound, I don't know, these books sound crazy without the underground fucking pizzerias and shit. Is that where we're going in the books? Is that what's happening?
You see where we are? She whispered. Slowly she walked the length of the room, gesturing to the 4 enormous pits in the floor, one of which contained a headless, half-buried robot. John, this is my dad's house. It's the room we found. They escaped upward out of the underground pizzeria and wound up in Henry's house. So slowly the pieces start to fit together. Henry in the book buries and tries to seal off the twisted animatronics and then commits suicide out of guilt for helping William to build these things in the first place, just like we see him do in FNAF World. And just like we see the underground bunker underneath a normal everyday home in Sister Location. And I'm just getting started, because while all this other information is certainly interesting, Twisted Ones exposed a detail from Sister Location so tiny and so minute that we all overlooked it in our excitement over decoding underground storage facilities and tracking animatronic eye color. Small detail is so monumentally earth-shattering to the franchise as we know it that I can't not talk about it here. On Sister Location's Night 3, Michael Afton's big task is to remove a power module from Funtime Freddy. After following the narrator's instructions on which buttons to press and what order to press them in, Freddy's chest pops open and the power module reveals itself. And it's this little blinking black dot, oddly unconnected to literally anything else in the animatronic, and in a pretty unusual place, just kinda stuck on, slightly off to the side. I remember thinking at the time that this was an odd design choice for something that was supposedly powering the whole animatronic, but meh, how would I know? No one, and I mean no one, called this thing out, considering Night 3 in general was just kinda forgettable, overshadowed by the misery that was the Spring Lock challenge on Night 4.
Oh god, yeah. Oh my god. This took for fucking ever. I think it took me like 3 hours to beat.
Fascinating map Easter eggs hidden on Night 2. But of course, this is FNAF. And no detail is too small in this series, and Twisted Ones blew the lid off this disc's true purpose. Its little mystery being so important that it's the reason they're called the Twisted Ones in the first place. Stick with me now, because I'm not making any of this up. That little device from Sister Location is actually a mind control disc. Pause for all the stunned gasps and requisite eye rolls. I don't blame either of those reactions. Let me explain. Throughout the book,
mind control. I don't know. Mind control. I don't know.
Animatronics show up, people start to feel weird side effects. Page 91 and 92. As her hand touched the creature, a wave of nausea hit her, but it lasted only a split second. Something else about it had transformed at the same time. Its artificial skin took on a luminescence, and its movements were fluid and sure. Its casing suddenly appeared to have skin and fur, though they were blurry, flickering like a trick of the light. Now, after destroying one of these twisted animatronics, Charlie and boy toy John discover a weird object embedded in the machine. Quote, it was a flat disc, about the size of a $50 coin. She held it up to her ear. Wow, that's really high-pitched. I can barely hear it. The sound is why you feel sick. It emits some kind of signal. It changes what those things look like. It changes our perception of what they look like, Charlie corrected. Freddy's image flickered like static on a television screen. The color faded from his fur, then everything that made him Freddy winked out, leaving only a smooth plastic figure in his place. It looked like the rest of the animals in the room, a blank mannequin stripped of its characteristics. These aren't made out of fur and fabric. They're made by us, by twisting our minds. You shot the chip, you killed the illusion. Twisting our minds, you say. Roll credits!
What?
Now, for as ridiculous as a small disc that emits sounds that gets your brain to change the way it perceives the world around you sounds, it's actually kind of based in scientific fact. The brain is constantly having to process tons of information.
I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about this whole mind control thing. I don't know. It's just one of those things like the dream theory. I don't know how much I like this. It's just a little out there. It's a little too out there for me. But
shortcuts. For instance, if I show you this text, you're probably going to be able to read it really quickly, right? It's because the brain isn't reading text by individual letters, but rather by the context of the other words around it, the way it expects the sentence to go, and making guesses off the most frequent short words that it sees on a day-to-day basis. The same is generally true in visual perception. Without going into detail here, it's how optical illusions work.
I can't do that. Hurts my eyes.
Gaps that it experiences. So the idea that a disc is shooting out sounds that distract you and thus cause your perception of reality to change to stuff that you're actually more familiar with isn't as far-fetched as it might seem. At least, not as far-fetched as robots haunted by dead children getting into an all-out rumble against other animatronics to bore unsuspecting victims, which is literally a thing that happens in the class.
I guess me saying, like, it's far-fetched, right, and it's really out there, but we're talking about this. as the story. This is the series we're talking about here while I speak about that. So I don't know. I don't know, man.
Comics of this book, not to spoil it or anything. And of course, it probably goes without saying, but these little mind-controlled discs were created by none other than dear old dad, William Afton, page 99. There was writing along one edge. She had to bring the piece of plastic close to her face to make the letters out. They were tiny and written in an old-fashioned flowing script. They read, Afton Robotics, LLC. Charlie dropped the disc immediately. Afton? William Afton. That's my father's old partner. That's Dave's real name, John finished. I thought he was just a business partner for Freddys, she said slowly. I guess he did a bit more than that. So why and how does this matter in the context of the games? I actually think it has the potential to explain a lot. First, from the book. So the animatronics aren't changing shape, we're just being distracted. What's the purpose of that, though? To earn our trust, to look more friendly, to look more real, to lure kids closer. And that's something we definitely see at play throughout Sister Location. It was even in the hidden animatronic blueprints that we discovered. Weird technology put in place to lure and trap kids. Now, this is speculation, but remember Sister Location's secret control room that allowed us to observe the crying child's bedroom, as well as other key locations from FNAF 4? On the map, they were labeled as observation rooms. Could that be what William was observing? The effects of his mind-twisting discs on children? Could FNAF 4 not have been a dream, a nightmare, a hospital hallucination, whatever, but rather the twisted dreams generated by these distraction discs? But even beyond that, I think these...
I mean, it could be, but he's still got his head bitten, though. So, I mean, it could be a mixture of it. Like, you know, him getting his head bitten and that on top of it probably didn't help. So it could be. It could be some kind of malfunctioning, and that's why he was observing it and stuff like that, seeing how it happened to his kid and shit like that. But damn.
These discs explain a topic that I have actively avoided throughout all my theories on this series. The Phantom animatronics from FNAF 3. Remember way back to FNAF 3 when this was supposed to be the final boss battle? There was only one real animatronic out to get you, Springtrap. All the other main jump scares were hallucinations in a building that had a high-pitched whining noise the whole time. And especially when it came to the puppet attacking you.
Oh, damn.
My name is Squidward.
Weird that these hallucinations are happening around a time when there's high-pitched noises around, like these discs emanate. And notice that the ventilation in the game would only tend to drop after you had been scared, not before.
That part would make sense if that's where what he's seeing, the hallucinations in there and stuff like that. I was just thought it was like the ventilation stuff like that, the air in there. I guess that would make sense of why he's seeing what he's seeing in there. Okay, I can buy this a little bit more. I thought the mind control, I was like, this seems a little out there, but I guess the way he more explains it, okay, it's starting to make a little bit more sense to me. I'm starting to buy a little bit more into it. This makes a little bit more sense rather than what the hell, mind control.
It's as though these hallucinations aren't coming from a lack of oxygen, like Phone Dude says, but rather from some other source. A disc specifically designed to manipulate your mind and bring forward
I guess
all
that
the
makes
horrific
sense.
memories that you have buried in it. And regardless of whether you think Springtrap is Michael Afton or William Afton, which is honestly a theory for a whole nother day, one thing you can't deny is that these discs,
I think it is
and
William
the
Afton, though.
family are all connected, meaning that their use in a game where you're coming into direct contact with a giant golden bunny definitely makes a whole lot of sense. Could they also be the explanation for the other random Easter eggs we've seen throughout the series? The Lolbit mask and the Mini Rena's random appearances in the control room of Sister Location. The Phantom Freddy and Phantom Bonnie from FNAF 2. I mean, the FNAF 2 location does make an appearance of sorts in the book, with the discs hidden in the lights of the building. Maybe even the hallucination of It's Me way back in FNAF 1. The ramification of discs like this changes everything, and we physically see them present in Sister Location. So even if Scott is tired of the franchise, that doesn't mean it has to end without the answers that we've all been waiting for. You know what? I'm here for you to try and put together this mess.
He definitely wasn't tired of it, because you see how many years it's been since this has passed, since 2017.
Puzzle as a community of theorists. There's still plenty more to speculate about as the Twisted Ones opens the door.
This makes me curious because I know the next game completes a lot of the story from what I've heard. Scott Cawthon talked about himself. I don't know anything, so don't spoil what happens in Pizzeria Simulator, okay? I've heard about this speech. I really want to hear it. I'm really excited to hear it. So we're gonna get to that eventually. So I want to know. I know it solves some story problems, so I'm curious to hear that and hear about the breakdown.
even more interesting and even more absurd ways of maiming and murdering children with Chuck E. Cheese style robotics. And I haven't even gotten to how I think the main character of the book series is probably a robot. But again, those are all theories for other days.
What the fuck?
Remember, that's
just
a theory.
Okay, what the hell? What the hell is this?
Remember, that's just a theory.
Where did you get this image? That was Game Theory's sister location. Now, I want to hear him talk about more about the custom night scenes and stuff like that, right? But, it looks like we're not really going to get much into that. So the kid is William Afton's son. I guess that kind of adds up of why the stuff was there and whatnot. Because, on the cameras, I mean, anyways. Because I just realized that makes no sense. But I guess this kind of adds more sense why it was more, observing, or maybe observing what happens with his head like that, or what he's gonna do, or just observing him in general. I don't know. I guess that makes sense of why he's seeing what he's seeing. I guess that adds a little bit more context and whatnot, right? That's the best way I can put it. I put these two pieces together here. Now, I don't know who the hell Henry is. I feel like I will do some exploring of who the hell Henry is, because I don't understand. That's crazy. I didn't even realize, because, you know, how lighthearted it looked like FNAF World was. I didn't even realize that, you know, that's what it was. And even with the next game, Pizza Simulator, when I was seeing that back then, I didn't think fuck all about it. So now that knowing it has a lot of purpose, it changes a lot of things, which may, you know, that's bad on my part, right? That's my bad, because, you know, with this whole series and whatnot, all these mini games have led to some type of thing, right? Led to some type of story, type of detail with either the baby, or we're talking about like FNAF 3, or whatever it might be, right? Because I think those only two are really into mini games wise. Or no, FNAF 2 had the mini games as well. So it all led, and then FNAF 4, obviously. With adding all those into it, I guess that's my bad for really not thinking anything about it. And so, I thought they were just kind of just fuck around kind of games, just some bonus games, just to keep everyone like a, you know, breath of fresh air after all the darkness of these last few games. But I don't know. That's as much as I can really think about it, which, you know, I guess it makes sense. They're just all one big family. But, you know, I wasn't really too on board with this mind control stuff, because I thought it was going a little too far out of my, you know, range of how I want to think about the series. But it would make sense. It would make sense. And I'm curious how the next game is going to tie up everything, because this story goes, it's just, there's so much to try to digest, and so much, like, I don't even want to say, like, too much about what happened before, because, like, I don't even know which theories, you know, he changed in this and what I remembered the last two videos and whatnot. But I was just to get immersed in these videos, dude, and how Game Theory talks about these things. Game Theory has one of those voices where it just, like, it gets you in. It gets you into it and everything like that. It spaces you out, you know, the time goes by super fast. People just have those narrating voices that just get you into it. And I know that sounds really weird, right? But like, to example, for somebody like Mr. Nightmare or whatnot, he has such a voice where it gets you really into it. And, you know, they'll pick the certain right music, certain right tones, and it will just fit perfectly. So, and yeah, I am very curious to see what the next game is like, because I don't know. I don't know. Sister Location was a good game. I genuinely liked it. And it was hard. There was a lot of hard parts. Well, not necessarily hard. There was a lot of parts that were redundant to do. That was my biggest criticism of the game, was having to redo things over and over and over and over and over again. Like, you know, you fail somewhere and then you have to start all the way back at the beginning just to get back to where you're supposed to be. I don't know, that part really got on my nerves after a while. But besides that, I just thought this was a fun game. I don't know, like, I guess we would have to think about what more have happened to Ballora, how she ended up in the zoo and stuff like that. I guess she got scrapped, but I guess I didn't know if they were gonna put like the story together of what could have led up to that point. I don't know, man. But if you guys love the video, like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you guys for watching. The Pizza Simulator is the next game to come out, so keep tuned for that. I think it'll come out in the next few days. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.